Ladies and gentlemen,
Kia ora koutou whānau. Welcome back to another episode of Big Hearing Youth. Apologies, I had a mouthful of water and I couldn't choose whether I was going to swallow it or answer or whatever. Hi whānau, welcome back to another episode. Chewy sir, good evening to you.
Kia ora, Pat. Not only is my teacup full, but my cup in general is full today.
Your heart is full?
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of everyone. What a day.
What a day.
I'm so jealous of everyone that was there. I was watching it in a window at work, just watching it build. And I've just been devouring everything I can find about it. Once I've got past work. But what a feeling.
Yes.
I needed this.
Yeah. Straight away to a super chat. David says, I watched the hikoi go past for ages. Then I listened to some speeches. Then I had lunch. And after that, I finished lunch. And after I finished lunch, the hikoi was still going past. My question is, how is Luxon so bad at his job? Yeah. Look, I'll say one thing real quickly about the numbers. We've got to be careful not to get bogged down in the numbers, because if it was 100,000 and they're reporting 50,000, or if it was 200,000, it was 30,000, that's not the point. You know, like if there was one person doing this, obviously it wouldn't create the same sensation, but the message would still be as important. So I think we've got to be careful not to put a lot of energy into convincing people how many people there were. There was a lot. I talked to Tamatha Paul, which I recorded a conversation with her, and she basically went, it was huge. Done. That's the numbers. Huge. I mean, Chewy, are you a Wellingtonian? But you lived in Wellington for a long time.
I lived in Wellington for over 10 years.
So you know the area.
I know that area quite well. And look, Radio New Zealand might have been playing it safe. I think that they were going from the official police estimates and were lagging way behind. A good rule of thumb. For ages. So I think about 1 o'clock they were still saying it was 19,000 people. The number that I have always heard is if the Parliament forecourt lawn is covered, that's 20,000 people.
Right.
So I think, as much as you said, don't worry about the numbers, I am worried about the numbers, because this seems to be the biggest protest in New Zealand, the biggest show of unity that I have seen in my memory.
Now, look, okay, fair. I guess what I'm saying is, if you're going to die on a singular hill, don't die on the numbers hill. Like that's not the one to die on. That's what I'm. And I actually agree that numbers mean something. You know, if something thrives, if something has numbers, that means it's growing. That means there's a proportion of people who are for it. I used to remember in radio and television, they used to say things like every single complaint was the equivalent of, it was either 7 or 12 people. So think about that when you think about it. There's all these individual single complaints. What's that actually showing people? So yeah, don't get me twisted. I'm not saying numbers mean nothing. I'm just saying, if there needs to be a clash or an argument or whatever, don't make it about the numbers, because it's kind of pointless. The message is the most important thing. That's all.
There's a couple of things that I want to highlight here. Not a single arrest.
One, maybe one. Okay. We're looking at TVNZ News tonight. I think said one, but maybe.
Well, regardless,
one,
you get 50 to 80,000 people in one place.
Yeah.
One arrest. Okay, so incredibly well behaved. Everybody was very much on message.
There you go.
This was an enormous show of unity. And I want to compare that to other protest actions that we've seen in recent memory.
Yep.
Groundswell. the COVIDiots.
Sorry, did you
Um,
see? Sorry, dude. Did you see that? CD's nuts. People have been
Oh,
watching.
CD's nuts. It's up there. That's my second favorite. My other favorite was Toy to Your Mum, which when you think about it, is an incredibly wholesome message.
Yeah.
And you
So
should.
sorry,
We should all
we
talk to our
interrupted
mums.
you with filth. You were talking about this protest compared to others.
You think about other protest movements, like Groundswell as an example, right?
Yep. Yep.
Farmers saying, look at us, we're important as well. And just a subsect of farmers. Yet here we have an enormous show of national unity. All of those people, all ages, all different groups. It wasn't just Māori doing this by themselves. They were certainly leading. But this was an incredible show of force and show of numbers.
Yeah.
Nothing has rivaled this. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't recall something of this size. Like, we talked a few months ago about the seabed and foreshore hikoi.
Mm-hmm.
Not even close. Not even close to this. This is huge. This is a seismic shift, or at least it should be. The other thing that I heard that was it fits is when they cleared out of the parliamentary forecourt area.
Yep.
Every piece of rubbish was neatly stacked, either in or near a bin.
Oh.
Everything was tidied up afterwards by all of the Māori wardens afterwards. So, just amazing. Where have we seen that? Where have we ever seen something like this?
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess one of the things you
guys want to talk about a divided country. I don't see that in these images.
No. I don't see that. Well, if we are divided, I think what this is showing is it's 95-5. You know, it's not 50-50. We're not going to go, oh, look, this has split the nation in two. You know, this is like the Springboks tour. The example was, you know, people couldn't talk anymore over their dinner table because one son would be for one son. It was like 50-50. It's like, okay, if there is a divide, it's at the 96th or 97th percentile. And then the rest, the 96 or 95% rest, were represented at the parliament today.
And I noticed Seymour straight away said, well, actually, we have polling that shows that over half of New Zealand supports this. And the only poll that can be is a courier poll.
Yeah.
So that has huge questions over their methodology. They've been called out on that. They're discredited polls. But if you believe that, Seymour, where's your hikoi? This is your opportunity. Where's your numbers?
What about if you believe that? Let's do a conscience vote. If you believe that,
are we
vote.
Going to see, like, if the supporters of Seymour's bill were to march, do you think we would see the unity and respect, araha and vibes that this hikoi had? I don't think you will.
And one of the problems with that, if you did see it, is you wouldn't be able to be packed as closely shoulder to shoulder because it'd have to be a walker between everyone. It'd have to go walker, person on a walker, person on a walker, person on a walker, which is fine. I love people on walkers. You know, you're a part of us, but that means instantly if only half the number of people would take up the same space. So there you go.
Before we dig too much into this, I just want to do a personal shout out for my friends in Wellington that all participated, and for the BHN family that were in Wellington and participating. I've been watching your photos come in on Blue Sky and Mastodon and Facebook and in the Discord and that sort of thing. And like I said, I am a 50-50 person today. Jealousy and just pride. Well done, guys.
It was just long enough for me to get some food down. Honestly, I haven't stopped today. Look, I'll show you. Down here, I literally, look, here's my gym shoes. Because I went to the gym at 7:15 because that was the only time I could get into it to go and do it. Got back here about 8:15, 8:30, and I did have a shower, so no one's going to smell anything. But yeah, been run off my feet today. One of the reasons we were, just to let people know, is we did a live stream today. Live stream was huge amounts of fun. It went for about 2.5 hours, and the reason it was fun was it started with little old me, and then what happened is Spider Hoof joined in, which was lovely. And then after a little while, my little protest group grew to 3 when Emily joined in. And then there was me, Spiderhoof, and Emily. And then a little bit later on, our little protest group grew to 4 when Magenta joined in, who was at the hikoi in Wellington. So that's what that was a big part of today. It went for 2.5 hours. It's already had 7,500 views, which is, it's not big when you think about YouTubers, but for us, it's an interesting return. Let me say one thing to you before we get going. This is non-hikoi related. You guys have gone bananas for the merch, and I feel you. I see you for it. And someone in the proletariat is saying in the chat, can your next merch drop be something like Seymour is divisive, not Māori? I don't know about that one. I'm not sure about that one. But I take your point. And what we've done with this drop is we've pre-bought the t-shirts so we can make them and mail them out. And what's happened because of that is you little beauties have started buying things out. So you can see the blue t-shirt's already sold out of small, already sold out of medium. The black t-shirt is already sold out of large. So I would encourage you, I'm such a fan of that blue one, man. I would encourage you, if you're interested in some Nikki No Boats merchandise to be delivered to you pre-Christmas. Now, I intend my hardest, I'm going to work my hardest to get everything delivered pre-Christmas, but because we're only, we're halfway through, the other end of halfway through November, all of these orders will definitely get to people by Christmas. What we're going to do is next week, we're going to do a regular drop. And by regular drop, if you don't know who we're about, what we do is we take your orders first, and then we order the merch, and then we send them out to you. So it can be a week and a half between you ordering and paying and receiving the merch, maybe 2 weeks sometimes. But because now we've got printing in-house, Chewy, it's a little rumor, you might not have heard that before.
Literally in-house.
Yeah, literally. It's literally 4 meters from where I'm sitting today. What we'll be doing next week, it'll be a 4-day Christmas special. There'll be a bunch of merch, some stuff that you guys have never seen before, and some new things we're going to try and get up and get ready to go for next week. And you'll have 4 days, and the Nikki No Boats will be coming back. So if you're a small blue, it will be coming back next week. You'll be able to get it next week. But what I'm saying is if you're fitting in those sizes and you're very keen to get it as soon as possible, now is a great time to go to bhshop.nz. What we do have plenty of, Chewy, because I've realised not everyone lives in the South Island, there's plenty of hoodies left. A few hoodies have sold, but it's probably 5 or 6 to 1 t-shirts, because not everybody lives in a climate like us. And people in the North Island don't buy hoodies when you're coming into summer. That's crazy, because we do. So there you go, bhnshop.nz. And as I said, this week, right the way through till next Monday, what we've got on the store is it. But then Monday next week, we'll give you an opportunity for a whole bunch of new merch for a 4-day only special. There you go. That's the sales pitch, Chew. We're done with the sales pitch.
There has been a mention in the chat for some bigger sizes as well. Maybe we.
Yeah, I do know that. The reason I didn't get bigger sizes for our drop, for the pre-orders, is I couldn't do that and didn't know. Like if one person wants a 5XL or a 7XL, it would just sit there. So if you're a size that's not listed, next week. Next week is the time, because I think they do go 3XL. 4XL, 5XL, and then maybe 7XL. There's a gap somewhere, and they do the other one. So next week will be your time. I apologize about that. If we had $1 billion to pre-buy the merch all the time, we would. It's not how we do it.
Yeah, well, that's the other aspect of it with us doing it now. There's no pre-ordering and getting exactly what we need. We have to guess.
Yeah, so we're not going to do that. We'll go back to the way we did do it before, but we wanted to have some merch ready to go with the new printing system here. Anyway, let's not talk about that anymore. Let's just actually do a few chats and then we'll get into the show, because we might as well get ahead of some of these things. Kiwis says, remember to sign the Stop the Treaty Principles Bill petition, Whānau. We got this. There you go. Oh, there you go.
When we were talking last
246. Got to get above 246.
There we go. So I think when we talked about this last night, it was at 192.
Yeah,
I think I rounded up a little bit to 200,000 and said that's more than ACT got. You corrected me. Now I'm right again.
Yep.
So that feels good.
Yeah, cool. Kiwi Bird, our hikoi is 30,000 plus. David's hikoi, 0. Very true. Mr. Arvid's shout out roaming reporter Madge, awesome mahi. Very good. Brian says best poll, catch an election. I call an election, Seymour. Catch, what am I brain at? We've also got Tone Ollie 1. Your support is truly appreciated. Tēnā korua. And BNY363, kei te hau. And then you've also highlighted Josie here. I think the emphasis on good behaviour and primacy of the safety discourse is going to ultimately kneecap a movement that wants to achieve its political objectives.
That's something that I'm aware of. Like, I heard it as soon as I said it. That this talk of
that there have been good little boys behavior. And girls.
Yeah, it's a little bit demeaning. But I think in the way of negotiations, you want to show numbers. Like, this is how many people we can muster. And the implication here is we're being nice. We're being nice.
Yeah, this time,
to us, please.
This time we're being nice about it.
This is how many people we can get out on the streets.
Yeah.
What if it is strike action next time?
Yeah.
Or what if we come back here for longer next time? It's that implication. But I think, like we talked about this last night, the moment that someone chucks a fucking horse turd at Seymour, then that becomes the discussion. Instead, what we have here is, like, we haven't even really heard anything. Well, we'll talk about Luxon and Seymour in a little bit, but what we saw today was just some amazing speeches.
Yeah.
And it was inclusive.
Yep. Let's get to some of that, shall we? The other thing is Stuff 3 News featured an interview with Seymour. I'll just be really professional how I say this. Fuck him. He gets no airtime tonight. Like they said at the thing, he's had his time to speak. This is the response. So he will turn up in the One News story, but we're not giving him any space to share, which is probably a mistake because last night I did email them and say, would you like to come on? And if they're saying this, I guess that's a no. All right. Now, I've got some apologies to make as well. I'm not sure who this speaker is. I missed it. We were live streaming at the time and stuff, but he says something really interesting in this conversation. And it's basically, it's not how he words it, but he's basically saying the recolonization. Colonization is happening again. What colonization was a bunch of, wealthy to-do people pushing the indigenous people aside so they could get wealthier. And the point he makes is that's still going on that's still going on now. This is what's happening right now. And so this is, I think, from Jordan's live stream. I just wanted you to have a listen to this. It's a couple of minutes, and it's a very, very interesting point.
But as Māori have been standing here in the 1800s and 1900s, standing for what's right, our leaders, our chiefs, our kings and our queens across the Moana Nui Akiwa, across the Pacific, have been doing the same thing. King Takumbau from Fiji was sending a letter to King Kamehameha in Hawaii, saying we need to unite. It was King Kalakaua in Hawaii who saw the wave of imperialism coming and said, Oceania, it's time for us to stand up. Moana Nui Akiwa, it's time for us to stand up. And he was sending letters to King Tapo in Tonga, sending letters to Maliatoa, Laupepa in Samoa, sending letters to King Pōmare V in Tahiti. And his letters almost got here to Aotearoa, but he got stopped in his tracks. In 1887, word got out that the indigenous populations of Moana Nui Akiwa were standing up to unite. And a group of businessmen literally held King Kalakaua by gunpoint and said, this was their message. We're here to exploit the world so that we can become as rich as possible. But we can't do that if native populations hold on to their sovereignty. And te iwi, that's the same message behind this bill. Let us not be fooled by the pseudo-equality sales pitch that's from David Seymour. When David Seymour writes down, I'm doing what's right for everyone, know that there's an asterisk beside everyone. And when you read the fine print on the bottom, what does it say? It says when Mr. Seymour says everyone, what he means is a very small group of people who are already economically and politically privileged.
Really good.
Facts.
It's a good message.
When I hold up the arguments of the bill against the facts of the history, it doesn't match up at te iwi. But I'm not here to talk about the bill. We're not here to talk about the bill. We're here to stand in unity, tangata tiriti, tangata moana without tangata whānau, without tangata whenua whānau, sorry. We're here to stand, not to talk about the bill, but to stand for our future. In just a few years' time, it will be 2040, marking 200 years since the signing of Te Tiriti o Waitangi, the foundational document of this land. My question to everyone who's listening in, whether you're standing here or you're listening in through the live stream, is what kind of Aotearoa do you want by 2040? Better yet, what kind of Aotearoa do we need by 2040? Simple. An Aotearoa where tangata tiriti are thriving. An Aotearoa where tangata whenua are thriving. An Aotearoa where tangata moana are thriving. An Aotearoa where our land, our seas and our oceans are healed and healthy. An Aotearoa where the spiritual and social landscape is at peace and harmony and healthy. An Aotearoa that's marked by unity, kotaitanga, and love, aroha. But here's the thing, as we all know, that Aotearoa is only possible if we honour Te Tiriti o Waitangi. Toitu Te Tiriti, toitu he whakaputanga, toitu te mana Māori motuhake. Ka ora tonu mātou! Ka ora tonu mātou! Ka ora tonu mātou!
There you go. I just, the bit about businessmen, I just thought was utterly brilliant. Like brilliant as in fucking terrifying and sad, but brilliant that it's spoken out. And I've also got Hana's whole speech, like 5.5 minutes of it. It's well worth watching. We'll do that at some stage tonight, but we're going to watch some video as well off One News. Want to jump in with anything else, Chewy?
Yeah, if anybody knows who that speaker is, let us know. Drop his name in the chat. That's a phenomenal speech, and basically is summed up way more eloquently than I'm capable of, is why I keep circling back to what is good for Māori is good for all of us.
Yep.
That is exactly what I mean.
Yep. Let's just do those super chats, before we move into the next bit of video, because if we don't, they'll back up.
Kiwi Bird, wow, look at all that peaceful thuggery. Hickabees, literally one of the people that I was shouting out earlier. So much aroha, mana, and wairua out there today. It was beautiful. DIY Guru with This Is Great Korero. Dave Monster, watch Day Trip on NZ on screen. It's a must watch. Mm. And Wooming with we have put right a minuscule amount of injustice. As a reaction, Seymour and his coalition want to recolonize and resuppress, and we must keep saying no. That is exactly right. When Hana was out there speaking, Seymour and Shane Jones, who I have an excellent picture of coming up later on, were debating that they didn't punish her enough and that there must be harsher rules for breaking Parliament's standing orders. So everybody's got to sit in their seat. Everybody's got to play nice.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous. So that's exactly right. Recolonization.
This was an interesting point as well. The police weren't just relaxed. They were actually involved. There's some footage of the police the day before, yesterday, helping paint placards and that kind of stuff. And there's a whole bunch of wankers complaining about that. And they're the same wankers who always call for unity and us being one people and, you know, community and all that kind of stuff. So the police are in there doing all those things, and now they're critical of it. So you'll hear that side of things as well. But listen, we're going to look at One News tonight. Obviously, it's 15 minutes. We're not going to watch it all. We'll watch the first segment, and then we'll go and do some more stuff, and we'll come backwards and forwards. We'll see how much of this we actually get through.
Passionate but peaceful. The nationwide hikoi today finally arriving at Parliament after a 9-day journey from Bluff in the south and Cape Reinga in the north, bringing their protest about the controversial Treaty Principles Bill all the way to the steps of power. Its author, ACT leader David Seymour, in the background, advised not to face them directly. We have extensive coverage this evening, capturing the poignant moments from when today's march started just before dawn, with crowds growing steadily along the route as the sun came up. The procession slowly...
Silly thing to say, but I'm very jealous of TVNZ's screen there. I do have jealousy about that. It's pretty dope.
Making its way through downtown Wellington, all the way to Parliament's grounds, where police estimate the crowd swelled to around 42,000, more than double the seabed and foreshore hikoi. Political editor Mikey Sherman and Māori Affairs correspondent Te Aniwa Huri-Hanganui were in the thick of it, and they'll join us live shortly. First, though, Te Aniwa's report.
They warned this would come. And now the multitudes have arrived.
I think that's actually really cool. They're right. You know, it's like since the first, as Māori have been saying activation, as Debbie has been saying activation, they've been warning. And it's like they either don't care, this government, or they didn't believe. If you didn't believe, now you believe. Because it's exactly, they warned you. They gave you heads up, whānau. You didn't think they were going to turn up, and look what you get.
The protest cries of tens of thousands echoing through the capital. Symbols of resistance at every turn.
Whakarongo mai. Listen to us speaking.
Crowds lining the streets along Wellington's Golden Mile, climbing traffic lights and peering over balconies to catch a glimpse of history.
This is like one of those once-in-a-lifetime experiences to see unity that you can actually feel like in the air, the atmosphere of kotahitanga.
The view from above staggering as they inch closer to Parliament.
Okay, Chewy, you know Wellington? Yeah, tell us. You know Wellington?
That's a lot of fucking people. That's my learned estimation. Look, if that is one person, that is 50,000 people.
So there you go.
Like,
there's a good view.
That is not 19,000 people. That is not 30,000 people. That is at least minimum baseline 50,000 people.
Have we had this?
Seen it?
Yeah.
Never
Have we
seen
had this in the chat? Or maybe my brain's going mental. One of the BHN whānau that were there basically were saying as it was finishing, they were just leaving Waitangi Park. So like it kept going. It kept going. It might have been Gary.
I've seen events like the Sevens, where you have almost a full Cape Town stadium emptying out, and it doesn't cover the same ground that this does.
There you go. Well, that's 50,000.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That the scale of this was organised. And just from anybody that's ever tried to organize a single group of people to do a single task, you know how hard it is. It's like herding cats. But this is amazing. And this is what I mean about a show of unity. Everybody was there for the single purpose, and they achieved it. And they did it with, like, you could feel the vibes. Everybody that was there was just buzzing over this vibe, because we have not had this for so long, and this could have been so easily an event full of rage, and it wasn't. It was the same vibe that I experienced here in Dunedin when it started for the hikoi last week. It was unity, it was love, and it was a shared purpose of support rather than of attack. People are joining together.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we meant with buffering and that sort of thing. People being shoulder to shoulder. This crowd isn't all Māori. This is Pacific Islanders. This is Pākehā. This is people from all corners of Asia, are all there for the express reason that we acknowledge the injustice.
Yeah.
We've had decades to get learned about this stuff, and it is taking, and that is what David Seymour is afraid of.
Yep. And just learning now as well. All right, we'll keep going.
Yep.
Closer to Parliament, uniting not just Māori.
It's not right for our people from all parts of the world who have come to make Aotearoa New Zealand their home.
To support the whānau Māori and to make a statement that Te Tiriti is a covenant that we have made between the peoples for all time.
Many people carrying pepe, others carrying ancestors. It's clear why they are here.
Yeah, it's interesting, eh? So it's not just from the young to the old, it's from the young to the last generation, if not further back. You know, I talked last night about doing that art activity over the weekend that had 6-year-olds to an 80-year-old at it. This is like 1-year-olds to people who would have been 200 years old today were at that march. It's pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
To
It's so
safeguard,
powerful.
to honour, to protect Te Tiriti o Waitangi. And I'm tired of it being, in so many ways, trampled on.
And it's clear what they want.
Cancel the bill, cancel the Senate committee, and if Mr Seymour doesn't like it, call a snap election.
But how much does it mean?
It weighs heavy on our shoulders.
It means everything. This is what our parents fought for, this is what our grandparents fought for.
On Lambton Quay, the hikoi stopped for the Queen. Te ariki nui Queenie ngā wai hono I te pō stepping out of mourning to make a stand for the treaty.
So this is, I mean, we may not all understand this, but I mean, even if you're not Māori, it's like just this person who, part of the tradition is you stay in mourning for 12 months. You do nothing for 12 months whilst you stay in mourning for the previous royal, you know. And what has it been? 2 months? And this is important enough to break that tradition, break that way of doing things, and stepping out to get involved in this. And Hana actually walked with her, and in the start of Hana's speech, which we'll play all of, speaks directly to her as well. So it's another on a day with a lot of powerful moments. Chewy, that was a particularly powerful moment when that all happened. We keep going. You right?
Yep, absolutely.
At Parliament, there was barely standing room.
What has happened today? The Māori nation has been born.
And together, a petition opposing the Treaty Principles Bill was delivered with over 200,000 signatures.
We will not stand by as the Treaty Principle Bill tries to diminish our rights.
Rights many here have vowed to keep fighting for as long as it takes.
The hikoi has been completed.
I think that's all we'll take from that to start off with, because we do have a lot more to go as well. But so that part of the conversation is talking about the hikoi. We're also going to play a bit. The next ones are from the same sort of story, but it's going to be also looking at the response to opposition parties, including the name that tonight shall not be spoken. That person. But I want to do Tamatha Paul is going to come up next. So what would you like to get to here, Tree? Responding to what you've just seen?
Yeah, like seeing the Māori Queen turn up was like, I'll tell you what I thought when I saw it, because the building that it shows her walking out of and that sort of thing, and the buildings of that section of Wellington, quite old, quite colonial, and I loved that contrast of here was a new queen that, let's be honest, we don't know. We haven't had too much time to get to know her, as you said. We weren't really expecting to. But to be there, surrounded by such an outpouring in support of Māori, is an incredibly powerful moment. Like, there were lots of images, like I remarked on the people carrying portraits of the tipuna. And just go, that is powerful. Seeing people with their kids, powerful. I do not think Seymour ever imagined that this was what he was going to unleash.
Yeah, it's pretty massive, eh?
Yeah.
If you were watching the live stream with us, or if you saw the news report, you would have seen that Green MP Tamatha Paul spoke from up the front. I managed to grab her for a dozen minutes or so after. So I think what we'll do now is go to that conversation, and then we'll be back and we'll continue on. There's more to come. We want to show you Hana's speech. We'll show you more from One News with the response from Parliament and that sort of thing as well. But here's me with Tamatha Paul about 4 o'clock this afternoon. G'day and welcome to the show, Tamatha Paul. Kia ora.
Kia ora, how's it going?
Yeah, it's good actually. We live streamed for 2.5 hours right through the through the hikoi. So even though we're in Dunedin, we were finding different streams around the place and showing them. So it was great. It's really, really good, really interesting to watch. And I noticed you got a chance to get up there and have a bit of a chin wag. But first of all, tell us the vibe, tell us the day. What have you been going through today?
It's been a massive day. I guess I'm still processing everything that's happened today, but mostly just a real sense of pride in Welly, because I feel we did a really, really good job at receiving the nation today. And so the vibe on the ground is real good, actually, real positive. I think there was a real chance that things could have gone kind of either way, and I'm really proud that, I guess, people had their head held high and just really respected the wishes of mana whenua and kept it peaceful, and just I'm just proud. I feel really proud.
There was some conversation between, because obviously when you're looking at someone's live stream on TikTok, you get their conversation. There was some conversation at one stage when a bunch of fireworks went off, when they said, the rednecks. Was there any kind of incursion and any kind of troublemakers there trying to stir the pot?
Not that I saw. Hard to know though, because the hikoi just went on for ages, and but not that I saw. I mean, it was definitely a thought that there would be some, potentially some kind of counter stuff going on, but actually everything I saw was really positive, and which is mean. But none of that disruption today, which is, I think, really good.
Is there like an official count yet? Because we've heard everything from 19,000 to 100,000 to 200,000. Do we actually have an accurate, like the Wellington City Council will be the ones that normally would count this kind of thing. You got any ideas at all?
No, I don't have any idea. I haven't even been able to look at the news today. It's been flat out, so I'm not sure. All I know is that I looked all around me and there were just people everywhere. Like every single street was packed. So I don't know. I won't guess because my count will probably be way off, but it was huge.
Yeah, huge. That's the official answer. How many? Huge. It was huge. Tell us how you started your day. So we're getting you at about 4 in the afternoon. How did you start your day right through to when you spoke at the hikoi?
Well, I woke up at 4:30 a.m. because I had some of my best mates drove all the way down from Tamaki. So started off the day really early, and then it was just all go from there. So basically got down to Waitangi Park this morning as quickly as possible, and then was down. We left at 7:30. Everything kicked off at around 9. Just talking to people, seeing the mood that people were in, enjoying the music. They had a show on at Waitangi Park, just trying to coordinate, kind of get our stuff all together, and then we just joined the hikoi, and then that was good. That was awesome. And then what happened after that? It's still a bit of a blur. Did my kōrero at Parliament. At the activation at Parliament, and then went straight into the House where I asked the Prime Minister why he didn't front the tens of thousands of people outside, potentially hundreds of thousands of people outside. And as usual, basic lines were given, no surprises there. And then here we are now.
We saw David Seymour stick his oily little head out for a minute as Rawiri was speaking, and then got shuffled back inside with people kind of telling him he wasn't welcome. Do you think the Prime Minister would have been welcome out there to say something, or at least just to see and be a part of it?
I think any MP that wanted to come and front that crowd could have done so. And I know that because I did that, and like it wouldn't have been unsafe for anybody, because again, the wairua of the crowd was very peaceful, and people are angry, and rightfully so, but also I feel people's heads were held high in that respect, and I don't think there was at all an energy that anyone would want to undermine the legitimacy of today. And so I think people were really aware of that, and so any MP could have come out, and any minister could have come out and been accountable to the decisions that they have made over and over again, because it's not just a stupid bill, it's a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of them didn't, because they're gutless.
It does seem interesting as well. I've been looking at photos and stuff today. There was some imagery of some police painting signs yesterday with obviously people who were going to protest. And there seems to be a criticism from some sector of society. Ironically, the same sector that's always calling for unity and community are now saying, why were the police helping the protesters paint signs? That's the vibe I got from watching from, 1,000 Ks away. Sort of, the police were there, but they were there just in case, and they kind of weren't needed in the end, and everyone was not happy because of the seriousness of the issue, but were peaceful in their complaint. Would that be fair?
Oh yeah, everyone was just, yeah. There was, I didn't feel any sense of animosity. Like, I didn't get the sense that tensions were running high or anything like that, which I'm sure proponents of this bill would have loved to see. But unfortunately, it was just impossible to get that animosity today, because you looked at the crowd and it wasn't just Māori. Like, it was Māori, but it was also Pākehā, it was Tauiwi, it was people from all different places around the world and all different cultures and all different ages. It was like literally kotahitanga in action. So there was no chance that this could have been disrupted, because it was organized so well.
Yeah.
And people were just constantly reminded that, there's a way to conduct yourself on this whenua. We're talking about the mana whenua of this land, Taranaki iwi, who have, their tipuna stood at parihaka and were peaceful and world leading in their non-violent approach to resistance. And so the only thing that was right for this protest today, or for this hikoi today, is to carry it in a really peaceful way. So, and I think everyone honoured that today and should be really proud.
You got up and spoke today. Do you want to give us an abridged version of what you had to say? Like, what did you say and why, for people who haven't seen your whole speech?
Oh, it was kind of one of those moments where I just got up and gunned for it. Yeah, we'll try to. I mean, I feel like that was one of those crowds where you just need to get up and speak from the heart. They're not going to really, you can't. And that's why there was kind of really intentional choices made around politicians speaking in the first place, because it's like, that was not a day to get up on your soapbox and promote your party. Do you know what I mean? That was a day to actually speak to people and show that there is that unity regardless of what political stripes you wear. And so, yeah, I don't even really remember what I said, but basically the key message was, David Seymour does not get to have this claim that he represents all New Zealanders, because actually most New Zealanders are against all this bullshit that he's driving.
Yeah.
And then to say to Māori in particular, I wanted to make the point that this is not a Māori issue. This is a issue that impacts us all, and I'm not going to buy into this whole poor Māori, we are like this kind of victimization narrative, when actually our people are strong and resilient, and we've been through much worse than this. This is simply a blip in our history. It's a blip, an insignificant blip in our history, in terms of the bill, and we've withstood far worse than that in our history. And so we're not gonna let this little man come in here and think he can overrule that.
Everyone's saying the world is watching. Do you agree that the world is watching? And why are the world watching?
Yeah, the world is watching. The world is watching. I think. Well, there's no doubting that that's because of the haka and Hana and her bravery and her leadership. And I think there's kind of a bit of a story here where, New Zealand as a country has always been we've always punched above our weight, right? Like we've never been afraid to take unpopular stands on the international stage, whether that's standing against apartheid, giving women the vote, all the different things that we are so proud of, and then standing against nuclear power and all that kind of stuff. We're not afraid to say the necessary thing and do the necessary thing. So I think the reason that maybe the world is watching is we've told other countries around the world what they should do, and we've kind of taken that moral high ground and many times, and so now the world is looking back at us saying, is this really how you're going to treat your Indigenous people and the relationship that you have with them? And I think what an opportunity what an occasion to rise to, because I think together we'll be able to be like, yes, we can rise to that occasion. No, we don't want to treat Indigenous people like shit, and actually we're better than this, and this bill doesn't represent who we are, but that moment with that haka that has captivated the world is a show of who we are.
I guess the remaining question is massive day, massive outpouring, massive activation, but where to from here?
Where to from here? I mean, this is just the beginning. We've got to keep this momentum, because we know that there are lots of things in this infamous coalition agreement that we're going to have to mobilise against, because it's not just ACT and their silly ideas. It's also New Zealand First and their attempts to erase references to Te Tiriti across our legislation. It's the fast track bill that attempts to override the mana of iwi and hapu. It's the boot camps and throwing our rangatahi into those boot camps. It's almost an endless assault on all of us. And so I think this today is a good kind of almost warning to this government. Don't awaken something that you can't control, and quit while you're ahead.
It's funny because I think many would say they already have awoken something they can't control, so it's already there.
And I love it. I love it.
Hey Tamatha, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Pat.
Alrighty, mighty. There you go, Tamatha Paul. She was in the thick of it. I was wondering why she spoke and not perhaps Chloe, but then she was the MP in that area, won that seat, and is Māori, I guess. So there you go. I think she's Māori. Anyway.
She's rad. I know
she's pretty cool.
I'm a little bit biased, but she's great. Like just relatable and just like this. I want this to be a seismic shift in our discussion. And I don't know if I'm going to get it. But I feel pretty hopeful today.
Do you know what it feels like to me? Look, there is a moment that I got quite emotional at, and I'm going to put part of Hana's message, where she united the Māori Party, the Greens, and Te Pāti Māori with one statement. She united them. You know how we've always gone, oh, who are the left-wing parties? You know, there's the Greens and there's Labour, but is the Māori Party really there? Officially, Hana, the 21-year-old, who is a leader in the House, who has spent time speaking out in the House as like the most senior person there. If the most senior person there has control of the House, she was it. Who is now, as a 21-year-old, is the face of the New Zealand resistance around the world. Today, united with one sentence, the Māori Party, the Greens, and the other fellas, Labour. And I'll pause when we go through there to show you.
I love that you went. And the other guys.
Who are the other guys?
The Labour Party. That's right.
Yeah.
Forgot about them for a bit. I saw a story today that Hana wasn't even supposed to lead that haka.
Yeah,
Did you see that?
Yeah, I read that as well. Yeah. And just so people know, because I know you're going to ask, yes, I've put in a request. And do you know what my request said? Something like the rest of the world, like every single journalist in the Western world, we would like to speak to Hana. Can we please, either on Wednesday or Thursday night? I don't think we will. I think she'll be too busy, and obviously it's a very hectic time. But you know what we get to do now is go and listen to her full no, we'll do that last, I think. Well, let's do the other part of the TVNZ story first. So what we get to do now is go to have a look at some of the response by some of the politicians. Now, I know we said we're not going to give any space to David Seymour tonight, so I apologise. Do you know he came out and waved? He came out and waved to the crowd.
I have thoughts on this.
He came out and waved to the crowd. Hello, people. Hello. I'm here. And I mean, people will have, you guys watching will have an answer to this, and feel free to watch it in the chat. I don't know whether he is so unaware of the divisive nature of this, and he really thinks that this is just a good, healthy debate. Hello, people who are having a debate with me. It's good and it's healthy, and you're all here now, and hello. Or whether he absolutely knows, and him coming out and waving is just a piss take. Nah, look, I'm here. What are you guys going to... I genuinely don't know which one it is. I lean towards the second.
I guarantee it's for social media, and that's it.
They will show you in the story. We'll play it now. He speaks to social media whilst he's standing outside, and then goes back inside. So let's get to it, shall we? I apologise in advance. I said he wasn't going to get any time, but this is more about the subject.
A little bit of time. A little bit of time.
A little bit.
Parliament's grounds were at capacity, and the huge crowd was in full voice as some politicians came out to face them. Political editor Mikey Sherman was there too.
As far as the eye could see, a hikoi for the generation.
Oh, there you go again, Chewie. If you know the area, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that's an enormous amount of people.
We'll just show it from the. So that's one side of Parliament grounds. That's all of Parliament.
So that's the area that they say if it's full,
is
that's
20.
about 20,000 people.
So this, and I'm sorry it's blurry, but this camera's taking a zzz. This is actually off Parliament grounds, or this is off the grass, and that's the road. All right, we'll keep going.
And it's still going. It's all the way down.
Yeah.
For the generations.
Well, so maybe there was. What did they say? 42,000. What's it? Maybe what they're talking about is the number that they could kind of see and count from. Maybe that doesn't include the continued queues down the way. I don't know. Maybe that's what the discrepancy is.
Making history at Parliament.
We support the treaty, and we think what David Seymour's trying to do is outrageous.
Who on earth has the audacity, in particular when they have about, 8% of the vote throughout New Zealand? Come on.
Squeezed in tightly, they stood shoulder to shoulder, even clamouring up the hillside to play their part in opposing the Treaty Principles Bill.
Do what's right. Do what's right.
National sending out a small delegation as MPs, both former and current, witness the power of te tiriti.
We want to say to David Seymour, where is the privilege in being the most incarcerated race in our own whenua?
As the hikoi began, One News was with the ACT Party caucus and asked David Seymour if he would front protesters.
I've actually spoken, for example, to Hana-Rāwhiti and said, would you give me that chance? And he said, I wouldn't advise it. It's your choice, but I wouldn't advise it.
I see him on the news today saying that Hana-Rāwhiti told him not to come. You goddamn right I told you not to come. He said he wanted to have a say. You had your say on Thursday.
I also think, though, the way that David Seymour said that, I mean, the vibe is it wouldn't be safe for me. You know, that's what David Seymour was putting out there. Yeah, he advised me not to come. That's the vibe he's putting out there, where you didn't see that anywhere. It's pretty slimy.
Can we
Yep.
Can we just, again, we have to do this every time.
Can we
drip? Please acknowledge Te Pāti Māori drip?
Yeah.
The man's a clothes horse.
I wonder where he gets his gears from.
God damn.
Fire.
Anyway.
All right. We'll get going.
Sidebar.
You goddamn right I told you not to come. He said he wanted to have a say. You had your say on Thursday.
But as Hana-Rāwhiti spoke, the ACT leader appeared, even offering a nervous wave to the crowd.
You know your game, boy.
They didn't want him there.
The last person we need to hear from is David Seymour. Would make the kaupapa about him. If everyone was to see him and get fired up.
100%.
Interesting. Well done.
I'm thrilled that he didn't get an opportunity to speak because he has plenty of platforms to spew his rhetoric around the country.
So instead of addressing the crowd, David Seymour spoke to his own social media team.
It may be that we find New Zealand is not mature enough to have this discussion. I suspect that's wrong.
The Māori flag adorning Parliament's windows, serving as a reminder to those inside.
Sorry. Must pause. Must pause. TVNZ.
There's so many good signs, Pat.
TVNZ showed this for a split second. Oh, Chewy's pushed the wrong button. Showed this for a split second, and I'm surprised I got it, but I got it. You got to see it. Hey, Chewy and those key bindings. You got to still fix that, don't you, sir? I was just saying, Chewy, I'll go back and play it again. This shows for like a half second, so I'm pretty impressed that we managed to get it as well. But it's almost like TVNZ going, should we put this one up? Oh, go on, let's put it up just for a split second. You ever watch? Watch how quick it is.
Adorning Parliament's windows, serving as a reminder to those inside, this house belongs to the people. With thousands of people gathered here inside, this house belongs...
Say again? Oh, they're the cuck chair.
Luxon, get out of the cuck chair.
Well, that's interesting. Because we were talking about the other night, how cucked he is.
Amazing. That's such a good combo, though.
Belongs to the people.
100% racist.
No, don't do that, Jerry Brownlee. We actually saw one during us live streaming, and it had Winston Peters and David Seymour as the testicles, and it had Prime Minister as the head of the penis, and we certainly froze on that for a while. And had a good look at it. Maybe that's one step too far for TVNZ, but we showed it.
With thousands of people gathered here today, those who spoke laid down a challenge, not to David Seymour, but to Christopher Luxon, urging him to shorten the 6-month submission period for the Treaty Principles Bill, which begins today. Will you do that?
That'll ultimately be a decision for the Select Committee from here on through.
For the youngest MP, now at the centre of it all.
This place is lonely. This place is isolating. We hear you and we feel you.
The weight of the
real emotion, eh? Real emotion in that moment, and they're about to say on the news that she's been under a pretty heavy attack, which you would expect. When she goes around the world, then she's going to get stuff back from around the world, and you can see the emotion in that moment. Sorry, Trey, you going to say?
I was going to say, like, I bet even standing in front of all of those people, she feels pretty alone, and I hope she takes some solace out of the fact that we're all pulling for her. My single fear with someone this young being so prominent is that building chews her up. Now, I think even to get as far as she has enormous reserves of resilience. And I hope that everyone just wraps around her. Like, I don't want to see another Māori woman get chewed up by this building.
Yeah. Well, and it's more than just the building. Remember when Wolf did that thing about was it vaccinated? You could only come in if you were vaccinated or something. There's a bar in Dunedin, people who don't know, and they had pushback from around the world. People leave because that went around the world, that story. Anti-vaxxers leaving reviews, like 0 1-star reviews from different parts of the world. So she will be getting flack from all over the world. And look, I'm not going to speak to it. I don't think we'll get her from an interview. Hopefully we do. If we do, we can ask her. I wonder what was going on in that very moment. Let's play it again and then we'll keep going.
This place is lonely. This place is isolating. We hear you and we feel you.
The weight of the debate laid bare.
And the enormous impact of this debate.
All right, there we go. That's that one for now, Chewy. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, actually. It's quite a massive undertaking. There is another part of the story which I think talks about what's happening internationally as well, which we might go to or might not, because it's looking at the time. We still want to play Hana. Is there anything else you want to do? Do you want to do some super chats, Chewy, just while I work this out?
Just a brief thought about Seymour's little appearance there.
Oh, the way.
He wants to be a victim in this, right? Always a victim, always. But the thought just sprang to mind when I saw him come out, do his wave, and then do his social media call out. They're back inside the nice, safe building. That he's spineless, like a jellyfish, washed up on a beach, just waiting and hoping that the next wave takes them back out again. That's what Seymour is. He's jellyfish man. And that's what we should remember about him. He is not talking to the people that were there on the hikoi. He's not talking to us. He's not talking to the majority of New Zealanders who just want things to be like, we've got an innate sense of justice. People want that. He is talking to his pointy necked fucking idiots that think that there was Celtics here in New Zealand before Māori. That Māori ate all of the Moriori. So therefore what Europeans did to them is justified. That there is some sort of massive grievous industry that just means Māori get everything, that they've been paid out billions and billions of dollars of treaty settlements. Not even realizing that even if it was that, look at the value that's been extracted from this country over the hundreds of years. Look at how the farms that did that ended up in the hands of white farmers. Look at what happened post-World War II. Look at what happened in the 50s and 60s. Even if it was billions and billions of dollars, it still wouldn't be fair. There is no way that 20% of the population, making up over 50% of incarcerated people, is a sign of a society that is fair and equal. And he wants to ratchet that down a little bit, and he's wondering why between 50 and 90,000 people turned up today and why they weren't very kind to him. Man needs a clue.
Yep. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the super chats that are in there, and then we're going to go to One News for one more story because it's only 90 seconds and it's what's happening overseas. And there was a surprisingly large turnout in places like London and stuff. So we'll have a look at that, and then we'll finish the show. Well, we've talked about Chloe as the queen. Can we have two queens? We can
have as many. Man,
okay.
Look, we've got a lot of queens in our parliament now.
Okay, we'll finish the show with one of the
They
queens.
need to form a union.
Union of Queens. I wonder who will do that. Late again, says Nick. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate the super chat. NZ Doom. Today was a good day. Ice Cube. Was it Ice Cube song? It was a good day?
Yeah.
It was a good day.
Didn't even have to use an AK.
Ice Cube. Great song. Stuart says there was a mini hikoi in Thames today. I'm curious to know if there were any others around the country. Yeah, that's an interesting point.
I saw a few Tino flags in Dunedin this afternoon. Heading from somewhere.
Okay, I'm going to try my best pronunciation here. Kawhawhai, tonu, mātou, aki. I think I got that. Pretty close. Thank you, Steve. And because I care, Seymour now the most insignificant human being. Oh, I see what you're doing there. David C. Word has always been a C word from the POM for a $2 super chat. Thank you there. Someone's suggested in their... what was it? Cuck off Luxon as a t-shirt. That's not bad. Cuck off Luxon. Quite like that one. And Rajan, Chloe and Hana are co-queens. There you go. Equity and equitable. So let's have a look at this last part of the One News story. We haven't showed all of the story. We just showed some parts. But it's interesting to see not just what's happening around the world, because this is making headlines around the world and other news media sources, but what's happening to and with New Zealanders in different parts of the world.
It's cold, dark and pouring with rain, but that hasn't stopped hundreds of people coming here to the High Commission in London to protest for several hours. The night started with a karakia, followed by speeches and a waiata. Organisers say they only expected 20 or so people to turn up, but many more.
And just pause that. Look, other side of the street, this side of the street, that's a significant chunk of people if you're expecting 20.
More came, they spilled out onto the streets. Many say they were compelled to be here.
Thinking about how isolated we are here, how much love we have for our whānau
and our land, there had to be something else that we could do that was more positive. And so organising this gathering was a way of us coming together.
Will there be more protests like this?
Yeah, I think so. I think we see our people back home, we see Te Ahika burning, and we are here lighting the fire on the other side.
Very few issues from New Zealand make their way here to the other side of the world, and very few end up in protests like this. It just shows the depth of anger and angst this bill has created.
And close neighbours in the Pacific have also come out and forced to show support. Around 300 people in Rarotonga marching. Cook Islands Prime Minister Mark Brown backed the organisers' request to end the hikoi at the cenotaph, where for the first time the Tino Rangatiratanga flag was raised on the flagpole.
Pretty cool.
And our hikoi coverage continues on our news page.
And their hikoi coverage continues. Head to their news page. Okay, Chewy. Anything else you want to get from the chat or whatever, or should we just get to the main part of the night?
No, let's just roll on for now. Yeah.
Just so you know, people, we have two versions of this. We have the version from Te Karere, which is much better picture. But to be honest, we were watching Jordan's version today, and this has much better sound. So whilst the picture is smaller, and we do think about having an audio podcast, but we're going to play this one because the sound quality is better than the TVNZ one. So we're going to play this full 5.5 minutes. I don't imagine there's going to be much interrupting unless we want to point out, for example, that point where she brought the three parties together. But let's just have a listen to this to wrap up the show. What a great way to wrap up the show, which has been focusing on this amazing day. Have a listen.
Te ariki nui kui ni ngā waihono I te pōtatau te wherowhero te tuawaru. Te whare kahui ariki whānui, kua rangatira koe I tō tātou nei whikoe I tēnei rā. Ka noho whakaiti tō tātou iwi Māori I a koe. I tō arahi I a mātou ki runga o Paremata. Ka noho whakapihi tō tātou kingi I a koe. Our sovereign, my queen, who came out of mourning and heard the cries of her people to carry them on their last leg. Ko koe te rā taku koini, pai marire ki a koe. I may have been suspended for 24 hours and not let in the gates to the debating chambers. But the next day I showed up outside the steps with 100,000 of my people. Marching with our heads held high and our flags waving with pride. This march was never about the bill. I ripped that in half and chucked it away. This march was about us. Walking, marching, side by side, generation by generation. This bill divides us as a country. The treaty unites us. All ages, all races. My karanga that I translated this morning was, Governor, I welcomed you here, and you have made me feel unwelcome in the place that I belong. My biggest mihi goes out to every single one of you over the past 9 days. We've seen our people run, cook, pōwhiri, usher, drive, walk, traffic patrol, police, Māori wardens, banner holders, ringawera, videographers, all ages and all different races coming together for Te Tiriti o Waitangi. My kurahui woke up at 2 a.m. this morning. E kore au e ware tia ki a koutou ngā tamariki, ngā mokopuna, I whikoe mai te rerenga wairua, tainua ki konei ki Pōneke. This place is lonely. This place is isolating. We hear you and we feel you. So go on your phone for 2 minutes and register on the Māori roll. Because if every single Māori person registered on the Māori roll, we would have 20 automatic Māori seats here in Parliament. We would be the kingmakers and we would never ever have to decide who can mess with our rights and our sovereignty as an Indigenous people here in Aotearoa. We are the kingmakers, we are the sovereign people of this land and the
That would be really interesting to know, Chewy. If the Māori role has increased significantly through this, we'll be able to find that out. That'd be really interesting to know, because she's right. She's right.
The world is watching us here, not because of the system, not because of the rules, but because we haka, and because we have our reo, and because we have our culture, and our grandparents, and my nana Hana, who came here and delivered the reo for the Piti Hana, her grandkid, her reo fluently, and come and whaka to them. I'm not here to speak long, because my job is not to speak out here, it's to speak in there. But I just want to mihi to all the opposition parties who came out here in full force, not just Te Pāti Māori, Te Pāti Kātariki, Te Pāti Reipa, koutou katoa. We are a strong, united front.
That's the moment. I'll go back. That's the moment that this amazing 21-year-old, when those of us who call ourselves stupid words like commentators or, whatever, and we think we know a thing or two, and we go, where does the Māori Party fit? Are they left? They used to be kind of centrist. They've gone with John. Where do they fit in this? And how would it work? In one sentence, Hana unites the three parties as one to move forward in one sentence. It's amazing.
Who came out here in full force, not just Te Pāti Māori, Te Pāti Kātariki, Te Pāti Reipa, koutou katoa. We are a strong, united front.
Yeah?
I end with this. Thank you for not letting me be alone on my 24-hour suspension. My card declined when I got my groceries. But that's okay, because I know that we're here, and I know that we're strong, and I know our King would be proud of us today. I end with this. The world is watching us. The world is watching us. Te iwi Māori. Whatever we do next, all Indigenous people are relying on us. It's not just about us Te iwi Māori, it's about us as Indigenous people liberating ourselves to Hawaii ki hou. So who's coming with us?
So she's not just uniting Māori, but every Indigenous person on the face of the planet. She's 21, and that's what she just said. The world is watching, and this needs to happen for Indigenous people all over the world. Sure, I'm following. I'm a follower. I'm on. Amazing.
Yeah, look, and this is something that was echoed by other speakers. For those of the paler persuasion, such as moi, this is not something we need to be afraid of. This is something that is for us as well. I think the people that fear Māori and Indigenous people around the world trying to redress everything that's gone on in the last 100, 150, 200, 250 years around the world, all of these things about colonialism, is it's always a fear that it's going to be as bad for Pākehā, for Europeans, as it was for the colonized. And I think that in itself is acknowledgement that colonization was a bad time, that it hasn't been fair. There's always a fear of the backswing. But I've already said it tonight. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to keep fucking saying it until people start to notice. What is good for Māori is good for us. It's good for us all. There's cleaner rivers. There's better management of our resources. It is a fairer and more equitable society. This whole day, this hikoi has made me proud of where I live.
Yeah.
It's made me proud of the people that I saw march. It has made me proud for everybody looking on and in awe of going, is this a moment? I think it is a moment. And I think it's fair to acknowledge exactly what Hana said, with all of the mana and everything backing her up. And Labour, I hope you were listening.
Yeah, yep. And just speaking
you
of
were listening.
Speaking of that, Joey, House of M says more people on the Māori roll would increase the number of Māori electorate, at least not straight away. Well, it would depend, because what matters in New Zealand government is your party vote. So one would assume that if you're going to join the Māori electorate and then start voting for the Māori Party, for example, if the Māori Party got 15% of the vote, then the seats go up. But yeah, it may not increase the number of although the number of elections, no, that's not, I don't think that's true, because the electorates are based on the number of people within that. So if all of a sudden that doubled, then they would need to double the number of electorates. You don't have like an electorate with 300,000 people and one with 50,000 people. They've got approximately the same number, is my understanding. So more people on the Māori roll would require more electorates. I struggled to say that word. Sorry, Joe, you can say?
Yeah, I think in this discussion we need to really notice that Labour are the centrist party.
Yeah,
they are always going to fall for that thing of talking to the middle. We have said, you have said on many occasions, Pat, that Labour need to realise that they are a workers' party.
Yeah,
and those tenets of the left and the Labour movement and that scary S word, socialism, they count now more than ever. We've pulled away from that because of neoliberalism, and that hasn't done us any fucking favours.
Mm.
And they need to realise that if they're going to play in that neoliberal game, they will lose again. And I will just vote harder for another party.
Hang on, just can we say about that? It's okay to be the centrist party. It's actually okay. That we don't need to drag Labour to the left because we've got the Greens. It's okay to be a centre-left party. It's okay. Fine. So own the centre-left and let the Greens own the left, and the Māori Party probably own the somewhere between the two, perhaps. It's okay. And when Hana said that thing about the United Front, that's exactly how government should be working. Like, I know it can't be official, but the Labour Party, the Greens, and Te Pāti Māori should be working together, right? That Labour should be taking as many votes off National as they can, and the other two who are sitting on the left need to activate their audience, because actually there's not going to be anyone who's, shall I vote ACT or shall I vote Greens? That's not going to happen. The two centrist parties, centre-right, centre-left, well, this does feel like a far-right National Party, but that's probably because of ACT's, puppet master control of Luxon. So let those two battle out for the middle, and let the guys on the further left activate the base, actually get more people out voting, because there's this old adage, if the left votes, the left wins. What happened in America, 20 million people did not turn up to vote for Kamala Harris. The left didn't vote. So that's the job of the Greens and of Te Pāti Māori. Right, Te Pāti Māori, your job is to activate as many Māori voters as possible. Greens, your job is to activate as many left voters as possible, because left voters don't do politics very well. They don't vote very well. Labour, your job is to take as many people off National as you can. That's it. Start working together, Pano. Come to Dunedin and do a workshop with us. We'll work it out for you. No problems. So,
I also want to talk about the person that we didn't see. We didn't see Luxon.
No.
So let's talk about that. Luxon does not want this to stick to him at all. He will keep hammering the line that, hey, look, that's just the coalition deal, and it's not my bill, and I didn't have anything to do with this. You did. You're the deal maker. This is the deal that you made. You birthed this. And how you birthed it, how its conception. Now we're talking about conception and birth with Luxon and Seymour. So let's strap in there. Winston watching on. Your deal brought this into the public discourse in the way that it is. And you don't even have the honor, spine, conviction to come out and talk to the people. On election night, you said you were going to lead a government for all people. Here was an opportunity to show some of that spine. You could have come out and said, we will not support this. We will shut this down.
Yeah.
It was a bad deal. I apologize.
Yep.
You could get in front of this now, and like I've pointed out, this man cannot spot political capital if it fell on his shoes. It was an opportunity for him to try and grab some of this narrative, and he went, I don't know. Last week, he was asked whether he'd speak to people. I don't know. I'm open to it, but haven't made any decisions on it because it doesn't seem important to me.
And we actually gave him some credit because he said he might meet with some of the organisers and stuff, but probably not outside. Didn't happen at all. So what are you saying might happen? Nothing at all.
I give credit to people from his party that did come out. Tamatha Paul came out. He spoke to them. Credit where it's due. We've had criticisms of him before. I think he is stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I think I hope he goes to bed every night questioning who he is. But he, as the treaty minister for this government that is doing so much to chip away at Māori, he went out there and spoke to them. Where was his leader?
Yeah, I also, it's really interesting how you say that, True, because as you're saying Luxon and what he's trying to run away from, I think legacy. This hikoi is part of Luxon's legacy. He can run from it for as long as he wants, but he is the Prime Minister who opened the door to allow this to come through. If he lasts 1 term, 2 terms, 3 terms, whatever, he will always have this mark on his record as being the Prime Minister who allowed this to happen. This is part of his legacy forever and a day. And you might as well own it and run with it, dude, because it's yours.
I think it ties into a consistent narrative. And this is the thing we can say about Luxon is that he is consistent. He does not take ownership of anything. He does not see political capital. He does not do the things that he said he does. And he doesn't take ownership of anything. So that's what he needs to be hammered on. Because you can just point to it at everything that this government is being criticised of. He's there. He's the leader. He carries the bucket. And you can see the through line on it, that he is not good at this. He is not a good politician. And he's not a good leader. And if he wants a knighthood, then he needs to fucking work for it.
Some of the chats that have come in, Phil says, I'm 76, a Pākehā. This is my 3rd hikoi. I have never been so proud to be a part of this nation. This was one of the most important days in my life. Howie V. Te Tiriti is the only cloak that will protect us from being magged. Respect land, stop global bullying from stealing. That bullies from stealing. That's really interesting, actually. If there was some kind of indigenous power within America, I wonder how differently their political landscape would look. It's a very interesting point. Ho and Angel, thank you for your super chat, says, this is why language matters. That is mana right there. No English word can match its meaning. It just can't be done. Inspirational. Steve says, it's always made me cringe that most Pākehā are Irish or Scots, but are somehow fine with English colonialism following them here. Mind-blowing own goal.
100%.
Rajan says, time for a memorandum of understanding on the left. Look, I've been saying this forever. I've said this to interviews pre-election and stuff, is the left should organise better. They should get themselves together and they should do it. I think I actually maybe even spoke to Chippy about it when we had him on, and he was like, well, we can't tell the Greens not to go for a voting block, and I get it. So that's why maybe an unofficial kind of an acknowledgement of where you sit. Like, you know, I just think, I think that if we're in America, the Māori Party, the Greens and Labour would be in the same party. Unfortunately, that's why their system's so dog shit. They'd be in the same party. And why not start to act that way on some level? Last one says Worming for $5. Thank you for your super chat. Petition numbers 10,000 more than ACT votes in last year's election. 256 versus 246. Yep. So there you go. That's got 50,000 plus 60,000 just today. All right, Chewy. Is there anything I can see your little screen down there? Have you got some stuff you want to add before we head off?
I got a few wee tangents. And I apologize, but this is really important. Okay.
Yep.
First of all, politicians have a history. And sometimes it's fun to look at that history. Shane Jones today was arguing that Hana should be punished more.
Mr. Credit Card.
Okay. Well, Mr. Protest.
Yeah.
And in fact, since everything said in Parliament is often recorded, you can look up a speech that man, Shane Jones, made in 2007. About the Treaty Principles Deletion Act. Where is that man now?
Yeah. He's trying to feather his nest and have a comfortable retirement. That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's my honest that's my honest held belief, is what that is.
When we talk about mana, this is what it is. It's what you've done. It's what follows you. And I think Shane Jones is just sitting towards the autumn years of his life seemingly on a one-man mission to diminish the mana that he once had.
Yep.
The other thing that I want to talk about is I saw an excellent post on Reddit today, and it's a reasonably big one, and I'm going to pop it up on our Facebook, on our channels today. Just some really good thoughts about people are going to be having conversations, and they're going to be having conversations with people that have preformed ideas about the hikoi, about Māori rights and what they deserve and all of that sort of stuff. This is a series of really good bullet-pointed ideas to just drill into your brain meat so you can have those conversations without throwing office furniture at people. We've talked about the fact that to move the needle on these sort of issues, we need to bring people with us rather than murder them in the workplace. So yeah, there's some really good points here. I'm going to put it up on our socials so people can read through in their own time. I thoroughly recommend it. And of course, 6 months starts today. You can make submissions on this terrible, divisive, racist bill that is being shrouded in the cloak of equality by David Seymour. The reason that he thinks that it works is because these are all good things to talk about, equality between the races, but New Zealand is not everywhere else in the world. New Zealand is a place where we have an agreement between iwi, hapu, and the crown, not between races, like David Seymour wants people to believe. So we know that we all have thoughts, and unfortunately they've given us a lot of time to make these submissions. So make it worthwhile. Craft your thoughts. Look at that list.
You got plenty of time to get it in.
Get your arguments in order, and if you are confident, if they ask for oral submissions and that sort of thing, do it. Do it. We all have to get behind this.
All right.
And we all have to kill this bill.
There you go. Last super chat for the night, I think, before we wrap up. Ian says, new word learnt today. The left is vociferous. Vociferous. Or you could say vociferous. It's vociferous.
I believe our first $10 word. Well done.
Vociferous means inclined to cause or undergo division into separate parts or groups. So it's a perfect word.
The more you know.
There you go. All right, team, we're about to wrap up. Just one more time so you know, we've got our specials going on at the moment, and you guys have been pretty active tonight to be run. Look, we've already run out of 3XL blues in the hoodies. So I said plenty of hoodies there. We ran out of 3XL blues. The blacks, there's plenty of them, or plenty. There's a few of them still if people want to get them. As for the T-shirts, you've gone a bit bananas on those as well. The blues are now out of small and medium and 3XL. The blacks are out of 3XL. So if you want to jump onto bhnshop.nz, Nikki No Boats, of course, Nicola Willis cancelling the ferries, Nikki No Boats. Beautiful design by our own Emily. then you can get those at big18shop.nz. We will be doing some more next week, but this is the time to get them ASAP because we have them already and they're ready to go out. I did some printing today of some more labels, and I will be doing some pressing of t-shirts tomorrow. So if you've got your t-shirt purchased, there's a better than average chance it may well be getting made tomorrow and be in the post either tomorrow or the next day. Steve says, might be worth getting King Charles to chime in. Oh, we can do that. I'll give Charlie a call, shall I? Let's give him a call. We'll figure that out. All right, team. It's been a huge day. Of course, 2.5 hours of live streaming, an hour and a half tonight. That's 4 hours of broadcasting for me today, Chewy. How's about that? It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. And tomorrow night we have another show. I just think, do we have someone joining us? I can't remember. My brain is mush. So it's probably time just to say goodnight and move on. Because officially, my brain is mush.
Help us settle a debate, whether it be thoughtful or funny, even if we're all creatures of hate. It's a fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Let's take a note of the corners we stand in. As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have the hand out for rewards, while the many have to work out what they can't afford. And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions we're too worried to mention. Other media is still dwelling on trivial facts, vetting peas from the rice and the mice from the rats, and picking and choosing a warpath to run, linking ourselves with the hill to die on. It's gotta come down to a welcoming vibe, with an A and a sub and a higher in mind. All have a lean either this way or that, and will be analyzed by what Chewy and Pat. With the evil in the world trying to mess with your head, and you're sitting on the couch, you're thinking chivalry's dead. Each night, 2 nights, they're gonna sing you to bed. It's Big Hairy News.
All right, Whānau. Oh, I've got a dog down there I didn't even know today. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's been a good day for New Zealand and a good day to be here. And thank you guys for spending a little bit of it with us. And I guess we'll catch you tomorrow night from 9 p.m. for another edition of Big Hairy News. Chewy.
That's all from me.
That's all from you.
Be cool to everyone.
Be cool to everyone. All right, there we go. There you go. Sorry, team. For those who only really come to see Nala, put her on the shot at the end there.
Spilled out.
She's filled out. All right, team. We'll catch you tomorrow night from 9 for another edition. Hooroo. Be safe. See you later.